welcome to the Hawks Nest, where it's time for some men's volleyball action. Your Hawks are taking on the Niagara College Knights, and with both squads coming into this match with losses, you know that tonight is a must-win situation. Hello, I'm Natalie Stoberman. Your Hawks are in a bit of a dry spell, having lost the last two matches, most recently being swept in 3 sets by the Mohawk Mountaineers. And then there's Niagara. They have a bit more of an upside, but only taking their first loss of the season, and that was to the Sheridan Bruins last week. Sheridan, they took the loss. They beat the Knights to give them their first loss of the season, and only has Niagara at a 5-1 record, close to the leaderboard. And the Hawks are in the middle of the pack, but don't worry, you're going to see a lot of scoring tonight. Nathan Murdoch for the Hawks is second in the OCAA leaderboards with 4.6 points a set, and he's already recorded 11 service aces this season. And don't you worry, Niagara's got one too. He's in 6th spot. That's Nathan Ship with 4 points a set, but he's already got 71 kills on the season. So Mark and Connor in the booth, who do you think is going to overcome the other?
Thanks for that, Natalie. Thanks, Natalie. So, like Natalie said, Connor, we have a great matchup here. Nathan Murdoch of the Humber Hawks against Niagara's Nathan Schnipp. Both high contenders and both teams coming off losses. I think it's going to be a very close one here. What do you think, Connor?
It's definitely going to be a close one. A very offensive-oriented game is what we're going to see here. Notable players on both. Nathan Murdoch, he's leading this Humber team with kills. A thing to notice, though, while this Humber team has been on a 2 losing streak, they took those 2 losses to the Mohawk Mountaineers and the Fanshawe Falcons. Those 2 teams leading the division 6-0 and 7-1. This Humber Hawks team was 3-0. They were perfect up to that game with Fanshawe, so they can definitely tangle with this Niagara Knights team who sits at an impressive 5-1. It's going to be a really close match.
And a little bit of a different scoreline here in the rankings. We just witnessed a fantastic match between Niagara and Humber on the women's team. But the men's team, a little bit different in the standings. We have the Humber Hawks women's team at the top of their group, but the men's team currently at the bottom. But like you said, both teams are coming off losses, and I think we're expecting a very high-intensity game, a very quick game. Just from watching warm-up, we're going to see like a lot of intensity and a lot of aggression from both teams because they're very fast-paced. And we have the starting lineups coming up very shortly right now during this matchup.
It's now time for the starting lineups. First for the visiting Niagara Knights. The 6'2" center of St. Catherine's, number 4, Steve Stone. A 6'7" middle Nassau Bahamas, number 5, Shomari Hepburn. A 6'3" outside hitter in Georgetown, Ontario, number 7, Jeff Stott. A 6'2" outside hitter in Colorado, Lebanon, number 10, and second Potter. A 6'5" middle at St. Catharines, Ontario, number 11, Andrew Vandenberg. A 6'8" hitter out of St. Anne's, number 15, Nathan Stippen. Your starting libero at Grunthal, Manitoba, number 9, Matt Friesen. The head coach for the Niagara Knights is Nathan Murdoch. And now the starting lineup for your Humber Hawks, as put together by head coach Wayne Wilkins. A 6'3" outside hitter in Kingston, Ontario, number 1, Scott Wilson. A 6'4" middle in Ajax, Ontario, number 4, Jordan Darlington. A 6'4" center in Carleton Place, Ontario, number 5, Simon Smith. A 6'4" outside hitter in Mississauga, Ontario, number 15, Nathan Murdoch. A 6'6" outside hitter in St. Catharines, Ontario, number 16, Mike Paget. A 6'7" middle out of Mississauga, Ontario, number 17, Stefan Lukanovich. Your starting libero in Scarborough, Ontario, number 7, Michael Watson. Your officials for this matchup, Frank Dixon, Lester Sheldon, Umpires, Blaine Ramage, and Peter Hamodi. It is the Niagara Knights and Joe Humber
There are the starting lineups there, Connor, and again, great showing. I think we have no serious surprises from what I can tell. Basically, as expected, starting lineups from both teams. And again, we have to go back to Nathan Murdoch, who's been tremendous this season, 4.6 points per game. What do we think is going to come from him tonight?
Well, they're definitely going to try and get him rolling off the start because they need a big performance. If you were with us prior to this game for the women's, Thalia Hanneman had a great showing because she got hot right off the gate and they couldn't stop her. That is what this men's team is going to look to do with Nathan Murdoch and Clayton Blanchette as well from the outside. They're really going to go and try to get him hot. But this Niagara team going to do something about it? Here we go.
And the whistle's been blown. Niagara starting with the ball. And here we go.
Right off the gate, you see an unforced error, and there's those saying the team that makes the least mistakes is the team that's going to win. And in this game, when it goes back and forth, point by point, everyone counts.
And like you said before, Connor, you mentioned Hanneman, the captain of the female team, and how she came right out of the gate there pressing Niagara. I think the men's team does have to do the same here with this very, very offensive Niagara team. Let's not forget that the Niagara Knights are the defending OCAA champions, so they will be pressing quite hard on this Humber Hawks volleyball men's team. And the ball is currently retrieved by the Knights, ready to serve.
So Jeff Scott's going to be the one to take this one up. Nice spin serve, great pass.
Great defense coming from the libero of the Hawks there.
And there you go, trying to get to Murdoch. Big right side swing, but it goes out. Oh, never mind, the official changing his call there, a little confusion. But that was a big swing from Nathan Murdoch.
And always difficult to call those close calls right on the line there, Connor. Very, very difficult calls to make. We do have Nathan Murdoch, the native of Mississauga, Ontario, standing at 6'4". And once again, we see the power there from him. Hawks currently hold the lead 3-1.
Good signs, the leading scorer for this Humber Hawks team. He showed up tonight, folks. He's already rolled 2. Let's see if he can put another one up on the board. He's got a nasty spin serve, and when he's consistent with it, very tough to stop.
Hawks serving the ball once again. Serve coming from Murdoch. Ball put into play there by Murdoch. Nice defending, going for the spike. Ball out of play.
Good pass from, I believe it was number 7, Jeff Scott, but a bit too low. That was number 4, Steve Stone, trying to get that to his right side hitter, Shoneri Hibbern. But that one just a bit too back, and he's going to roll that one long.
And we see how Murdoch is getting that serve quite deep in the back end of the court. Really low and hard. Another fantastic serve coming from Murdoch.
Oh, and you can expect a timeout coming soon. Trailing 5-1, and the last thing this Knights team wants is a Nathan Murdoch getting touches. He's rolled 4 of the 5 points that the Hawks currently have.
Murdoch going to serve the ball once again, generating a nice little rally here.
Murdoch just going to put that one long, but nonetheless, he's getting touches, he's getting warm. And 3 points may not seem like a lot, but when these guys go back and forth point for point, that could very well be the difference in the end.
Absolutely, and the power behind Murdoch's serve is incredible. You can see it very, very clearly. As we have Mark Wickernick, native of Trenton, Ontario, standing at 6'5", going for the serve for the Knights.
Now that is one tough float. So you just mentioned 6'5", he jumps up, and that looked more like a spinner than a float. We can get a replay on that. He just rifled that one down, touches back line, so a tough floater here from Mark.
Hawks going for the counter.
There you see it. Second leading scorer on this team, Clayton Blanchette, the outside swing.
And the Hawks are not pleased with that call.
Oh, they're going to call it on Simon Smith for a lift.
We'll see a bit of the frustration kicking in there by the Hawks.
I don't agree with that call either. That ball came up
But
clean.
there we go, challenge play, and ball given back to the Hawks.
Absolutely, that ball came up very clean. Fantastic fix from Simon Smith. That is definitely Hawks point.
And you can see the response on their faces immediately when the call was made. Everyone was like, what is going on over here? But the correct call was made. Scoreline stands 6-3, Hawks over the Knights. from the Hawks.
That was a great fix. That was a great fix from the Knights. They managed to get some tips going there. And then the outside swing, you see the fixes there from that Knights team. They give it to Smith, so he can't take the second ball in the set, and Blanchette stopped.
Ball put back into play by the Knights. Going for the spike there by the Hawks. Defended by the Knights. And a great play there by the Niagara Knights.
I believe that was number 10, Tristan Swindon, I believe. And he put that one through hands.
And again, difficult save. Solid attempt there by Murdoch.
Darlington with the reach there.
Ball in play. Knights still have the ball.
Oh, they're going to get called on the net for that? Oh, no, it's not going to get any touch, so it's going to be 4 hits. And that was a great steal on the block. You can really see the 2 blockers of Darlington, and I believe that was Scott Wilson. You can see them pressing the net there. A great steal.
Ball put back into play by the Hawks. Knights currently have the ball, going for the spike. Hawks ball. Murdoch for the spike. Nice dig going up here. Ball still in play. Great job by the Hawks.
All right, looks like it's going to be a free ball. Let's see if the Hawks can put her down.
Rally by the Hawks.
Oh, right idea. But Darlington got red there.
And give credit where credit is due, Connor. Great defending by the Niagara Knights.
Absolutely.
And
Right
we
idea,
saw
though.
from that replay there, as you said, good thinking coming from the Humber Hawks. Had the right idea, but solid defending by the Niagara Knights as they set up to serve the ball, that being number 10 of the Knights, Tristan Swindon.
He's going to blow that one long. But what was once a 5-point deficit is now down to 2.
Again, very close game on hands at the moment. Scoreline standing 8-6 Hawks over the Knights. Ball currently still put in play. Hawks ball. Murdoch for the spike.
Look how high he
A
gets
solid
it.
block there coming from the Niagara Knights, and another great serve there, or spike, excuse me.
Great defensive play coming on the part of the Knights. Unfortunate, unforced error on that pipe ball. Just goes long, but you got to give that block some credit. Murdoch literally going down, but they managed to keep it up.
Now we see a substitution being made there. Number 7, the libero of Humber, Michael Majin, being subbed off for number 17 of the Hawks, that being Stefan Vukamanovic.
And that outside hit, the outside hit connection not going to work there. The set from Murdoch to Blanchette, and it's just going to go long. Great fix, though. That's the type of play you want to see from your team. Good communication, making an attack, something out of nothing is exactly what you want to see.
Difficult way to get the ball down there, being so close to the net, Connor, especially with the power of that ball coming in. Oftentimes it does carry out of bounds. And a solid spike there from Murdoch, a great defense coming from the Knights.
Look at Scott Wilson getting his first kill. Big C-ball from the right side hitter.
And like we said before, this first set is going to be a very aggressive style of play, Connor. We see the power coming from Murdoch. I am absolutely surprised from the power of his shot. I can't believe that spike. It came in so strong.
Absolutely. Got to give credit to Magician, the libero for this Hawks team. He started it all with that beauty of a dime pass. And again with that free ball.
Hawks ball.
And they established the middle.
And that was converted there by number 17, Stefan Vukmanovic. Many hops coming from that young man.
Absolutely. You see Simon Smith running a good offense right now, getting everybody involved.
Knights going for the spike, but great defense coming from Vukmanovic again. What a force since he's been put onto this court.
Absolutely. That was a big swing from Mark Winkering.
Great defending and all-time spikes coming from him. Absolutely fantastic play from the Humber Hawks.
Absolutely. The Knights got everything they wanted. The one-on-one attack, but not quite. And now they're going to force a free ball. Actually, no, they convert it to an attack.
And great way for the Knights to come back there. A little bit of miscommunication from the back line of the Knights, but nonetheless, they were able to save the ball and convert for the point.
That's an incredible fix there from the Knights. They shank on the pass. They bring it all the way back from off court with the pass to set up a left side swing. That is great communication on the part of the Knights.
Scoreline stands 12-9, Humber over Niagara.
Great pass. Scott Wilson gonna go off hands, and that's a great pass from Michael Magison.
Scott Wilson has been quite lethal in this game at the moment, Connor. I find him running all over the court and being very, very active. So great play from him and solid defense for the Hawks to generate that.
Absolutely, had that big right side swing earlier, and now getting the tough joust. Murdoch a little bit too strong that time, but the Hawks still with 3-point lead, so they are controlling the pace of this game so far.
Absolutely, like we said, it can be a very, very close match. We witnessed it in the women's game previously, and again, 3 points means absolutely nothing at this point in the game, Connor, with the first set. So a lot of great work still to be played, and hope the teams consistently play well.
And Clayton Blanchette with a monster line shot right there. Oh, we got to get a replay of that. And right there, you see Bukmanovic drawing the middle, the one-on-one, and that's going to get put down every single time.
The Hawks have been great in getting those balls really low and hard to the bottom of the court. Again, making the Knights very difficult in getting those balls to serve, right? Like we see the ball going right below the knee level, and it's very, very hard to get down there. So again, if the Hawks keep on performing this, playing this way, we can't expect a very exciting match in their favor.
Got to give props to Steve Stone, though. He was waist deep, and he managed to get that and went up with clean hands, too.
Absolutely, got to give credit where credit is due.
Another missed serve from the Humber Hawks. That is their fourth of the night. So they definitely want to tone those down as the set continues. And I believe this is now Nathan Schnipp. Oh, and there's looking for a call, but no, Steve Stone gonna get away with the dump.
And the Knights are currently serving, that being number 15, Shonari Hepburn, native of Nassau, Bahamas. And the ball's currently in play, saved there by Hepburn. Humber's ball.
Big point there for the Hawks. I think that was Scott Wilson again.
And we see on this previously replay here, a little bit of lack of communication there. Or oh no, my mistake. Missed call there.
Oh, that's gonna be tight.
Knights keeping that ball in play. And solid spike, but a great block coming from the Hawks.
Big block from Darlington and Blanchette. Great save by the Knights to generate a hit out of that. But
you see the excitement on his face there, getting really amped up from that last block.
Big block from the front court.
And a very nice little rally there by the Knights, but just outside of the court.
Now late in the game, we see the first timeout from the Niagara Knights, down 6 as the Hawks lead, 18-12.
Connor, it's been an exciting one up until this point. Both teams have been very evenly matched, a lot of power, very fast-paced game in my opinion, with both the Hawks and the Knights generating great serves, great spikes, and all-around fantastic rallies. So kudos to them, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen in the rest of the matchup here at the Humber Hawks, Athletics Center.
You saw how quickly it got away from them, but in the same way that they went down from 2 to 6, they can bring it right back. You see the momentum switch. This timeout might ice the service here from the Hawks, and they get it right back, roll a few points, and they're right back in this. The Hawks still got 7 points to go, and this game is far from over. We are just getting started here at the Athletic Center.
Absolutely, and thank you for joining in tonight to watch this great display of Humber Hawks volleyball here, brought to you by BRTV and 96.9 Radio Humber. And as the men make their way back onto the court, we see that. And we can see a replay here, Connor, just real quickly. Great block from Humber. And again, Niagara keeping that ball into play, but fantastic defending. Absolutely sensational. Coming from number 4, that being Jordan Darlington of the Humber Hawks. And again,
party ball
great
there.
defense. Fantastic play. And once again, Darlington showing his approval on that last play. Loving how the teams are both one with each other, really supporting each other's backs here.
You see the party ball there, and Blanchette's going to put that one to rest.
Ball back in play. And solid strike there by Niagara. By number 15 of the Knights. Powerful spike.
Ooh, Scott Wilson getting the lucky roll there off the block. And that one's going to score.
Great little rally there coming from the Hawks. Once again, see here, them really, it looks like the Knights are a little bit dejected, a little bit of confusion coming there.
Absolutely.
Seeing 15 in the back, kind of exhausted at the moment, really early on in this game, and you don't want to see that.
The Knights just look out of gas. They had a triple block on Scott Wilson. That one went through, and right off the set, or the volley from Matt Frizen, the libero for the Niagara Knights. I believe that is Matt Frizen, yes. Nobody there to play it.
And again, nice little rally there going by the Knights. Well, a sensational spike.
Jeff Scott rips that one line. Definitely don't want to give that to him again. Nice run from Humber, from the Niagara.
Score line holds 21-14, Hawks over the Knights here at Humber College in Etobicoke, Ontario.
And the Hawks called out of rotation. That's not something you really see much at this level. Nathan Murdoch.
A little bit of a rookie mistake there, Connor, and you can see the confusion on Murdoch's face.
Absolutely. It would seem that Murdoch, I believe Murdoch was supposed to be behind a certain player, in front of Clayton Blanchette, who is his opposite. And due to being behind him, he's going to get called for being out of rotation. Oh, they're going to give it right to him, though. And he makes up for it nicely. All right, so it looks like Darlington's going to be brought out, and number 11, is that number 11? Number 10, that is number 11.
Number 11, Rafael Galdames, coming into play. And in fairness to Darlington, he's been great so far going on the court. Looking forward to seeing him come back onto the court later in the match.
Oh, 100%. If anything, he'll be back in the next rotation.
Knights ball. Ready to be served there by number 4 of the Niagara Knights. Scoreline stands 22-15 Hawks in this first set.
Great play from Simon Smith, the party ball for the Knights. Smith gets up there with the block, and the Knights are going to get called on the net. Great play from Simon Smith. We got a replay on that.
Let's see here.
No, that was after. But prior to that, Smith with a fantastic block.
Hawks serving the ball back into the Knights zone. Nice little rally there from the Knights. Hawks still have the ball.
He's going to get called on hands there. Yeah, a bit too tight, a little bit too much spin on that one.
Number 7 of the Niagara Knights, Jeff Scott, serving this ball.
He's been great so far.
2 kills this game. And points there, great serve coming from Scott of the Knights.
Skims the line on that back left corner. Good timeout from the Humber Hawks. They still have a 5-point lead, only 2 more to go, but a great timeout. Kill the momentum, come back right out, and especially with a spin serve, if they get iced, it's very easy to put that into the net.
Like you said, Connor, scoreline currently stands 23-18, Hawks over the Knights, and a fantastic moment in the game to make that timeout call. Both teams have been tremendous as of now, really, really pressing, but I have to address Jordan Darlington, number 4 of the Humber Hawks, who has been a little bit of a silent newcomer here a bit. He's been tremendous this game. I was really, really impressed with his defending at the first set, or during the first set. And the fourth-year native has been really, really impressive. So looking forward to seeing him come back onto the court. And again, quick timeout here as we see the boys ready to get right back into it.
Humber just taking some time. Get ready to run a play. It'll be interesting to see where each player is right now. They have Murdoch at the right. You can expect it to go him. And they have Scott Wilson at the left. Both have been playing well. But if Smith gets himself a nice pass here, I venture to guess we could be seeing Nathan Murdoch putting this one down at right side. Let's see if we got...
Jeff Scott serving the ball for the Niagara Knights back into the Humber Hawks zone.
They go to Scott.
A nice save there by the Knights to keep the ball in play. Hawks ball. Still saved in play there by Niagara. Great little volley going.
Oh, miscommunication. Great save from Michael Masson.
And solid block by the Hawks. Ball still in play for the Hawks.
And Vukmanovic can't handle it at the net. He gets called for the double. What a rally going back and forth between these two teams.
You see the Hawks coach and Vukmanovic currently communicating with each other. A little bit of a rookie mistake. Nonetheless, game continues and that scoreline begins to dwindle down. 23-19, Hawks over the Knights.
But there you see it, Jeff Scott putting that one to the net. Very common with the spin serve, that's a risk you take. But when you're down 5 and it's now set point with Nathan Murdoch at the serve, that might just have cost them the set.
And we all know that the last man you want taking this serve to end it would be Murdoch, but he stands here and let's see what he does.
And a great run from the Knights. Very nice set from Steve Stone. Pushed all the way out to the left side. There was only one way he could go, but they still managed to put that off the hands of the Humber Hawks block. Right there, that was number 10, Tristan Swindon.
24-20 scoreline stands. Hawks over the Knights. Knights serving the ball back into the Hawks end.
And there you have it, 25-20 the first set. Scott Wilson, right side, he's had a couple big kills this game, and that one putting the knife in the coffin on this first set.
Yeah, Connor, it's been a tremendous first set, and we knew this game right from the get-go was going to be quite competitive. Again, we got the very competitive Niagara Knights, who have just recently come off a loss to Sheridan, but won previously at Boreal with winning all 3 sets. And then we have the Hawks, who have been struggling a bit this season, coming from 2 losses, but maybe this might be the rebound game, right? They could come back and win this game. Who knows? Still quite early, but what do you think about the Hawks' performance at this point?
The Hawks have been clicking on all cylinders. Nathan Murdoch was hot right out of the gate. Darlington has been getting involved, establishing himself in the middle on offense and defense, disrupting and creating opportunities for his team. He has been great, but Niagara's been great as well. 25-20, not that big a difference.
And it's great to see that the audience is showing quick support. We see a couple shots of both the female supporters from the previous game supporting on their male counterparts. So it's always great to see that, and fantastic to see people coming out on this chilly Thursday, November evening to come and support our Humber Hawks and the Niagara Knights. So thank you to all the fans out there that are sticking around and showing great support for some fantastic OCAA volleyball here.
Now we should be looking at the same lineups coming out for both Humber and Niagara. Neck and neck, 5 points, while one could argue it is a big deficit in such a point-for-point competitive match. It's not that much at all. It can go either way, and it'll be interesting to see how much urgency Niagara comes out. They've only suffered 1 loss, as you mentioned, in a very tight game, 3-2. They lost to Sheridan, and Humber on a 2-game losing streak, but then again to the top 2 teams in the division. So this will be an interesting second and third and possibly 4th and 5th set.
Just to jump onto your point about Niagara, Connor, we were talking a lot about Murdoch of the Hawks, but I have to point out Niagara's Nathan Schneip, who's been a little quiet as of in the first half. The first set. We did see him perform and get a couple of spikes in there, but again, a player like of his caliber, ranking 6th currently, averaging 4.0 at every game. I thought would get a little bit more out of him in the first set, but who knows, maybe the second set might be different.
Absolutely, but you got to give credit to Jordan Darlington. He is the one who is getting outside to stop Schnipp from scoring, averaging 4 kills a set. That wasn't quite the case this time, but they may get him involved in the second, just the Hawks did with Nathan Murdoch.
And just to add to that, great defensive play by Stefan Vukmanovic, too, of the Humber Hawks. first set's been phenomenal, and again, great work from him, and he's been solid on offense and defense. I still think he's been a little bit more punctual on the defensive side, but he has shown some great offensive skill as well. So the men are currently making their way back onto the court and repositioning, and it looks like we have a great second set on our hands here at the Humber College Athletic Center.
Now it looks like the Hawks will have first serve. Look for Vukmanovic, number 17, the middle for this Humber Hawks team. Definitely to get involved. The second year out of Mississauga, a relatively young player compared to some of the guys on this squad. So look for him to get involved as the Hawks will open up with first serve. Standard rotation. Definitely want to start off with 3 hitters. So the front line with Vukmanovic, Murdoch, and the right side hitter, Scott Wilson, who's had a number of plays throughout this game.
And great serve there coming from the Niagara Knights.
Serving the Hawks is number 5, Simon Smith.
Or my mistake, Niagara sending that ball out of play for the Hawks to retrieve that ball again.
Smith with a great serve, forcing these deep shots, a roll shot. Here we go, free ball. Oh, a bit too far. Sloppy set.
I could see where Murdoch was going with that thinking. Difficult play to convert, Connor, though, being all the way on the right side. Creative, but no slice on that one.
Absolutely, Murdoch coming in a little bit too far into the court. That set going a little wide. Now, big serve come from Jeff Scott.
And the Hawks give a rally here, going for that spike.
Scott Wilson, how about this guy? He's been great.
Yeah, number 1, Scott Wilson, coming out of nowhere here, really performing in the latter end of the first set and at the beginning of the second set. So great to see that. Hope he keeps that momentum going.
All right, now this could be a big break for this Hawks team. Murdoch, if he can get this spin like we saw in the first, he can roll a few points here. Now looks, that's going to be a Hawks point either way, whether it's off of number 10, Tristan Swindon, or 4 hits.
Solid play there by the Hawks, and it all, once again, all began with Murdoch's serve. Great defense coming there, too. Murdoch to serve the ball. Nathan Murdoch, native Mississauga, standing at 6'4".
And that's a great run from the Knights. Great pass. And they run that to number 5, the middle of the Niagara Knights. That is Mark Wickering.
Again, solid spike there from Niagara Knights to get it right in that open spot. Served by the Knights.
And there
just
you
out.
see Mark with that floater that just looks like a spin serve. If he can get that going,
And
Niagara could possibly take the lead.
And to just add to your point, Connor, Wickernick of the Knights has been really, really impressive in my opinion this past game. Really demonstrating some creative play and some rallies here.
So aggressive serve. He puts that one in net. All right, Vukmanovic. He's been relatively quiet compared to Darlington so far, but I think we can expect something out of Vukmanovic right here. Oh, Darlington blowing the party ball long left. The Hawks having a good few chuckles there. Here's the replay on that.
Ball in play for the Hawks. Nice defense there coming from the Hawks. Ball still in play, Knights ball. Rally keeping up here for the Hawks, going for the spike. And great job by number 4 of the Humber Hawks, that being Jordan Darlington. And like we said, Connor, Darlington's been the silent giant during this game, coming out of nowhere and really performing well.
He's really been impacting the game on both ends. He's doing that in the second. And Smith
Hawks
doing a great
ball.
job.
Ball in play for the Knights.
Great defense from Michael Masson.
And a well-practiced play there by the Knights. Solid spike coming from number 11, that being Samir Cutter of Niagara College. Number 10, Tristan Swindon to serve that ball, but out of bounds.
Little long, still early in the game. They can afford some mistakes like that right now, but down the stretch, they definitely don't want to make service errors like that. And now, Clayton Blanchette at the serve, which means Murdoch back in his comfort zone. Blanchette going to put that one long as well. So going back to back with missed serves here for both teams.
Game is currently tied at 6 apiece in the second set, with the first set going to the Humber Hawks.
Great pass from Blanchette. Oh, Simon Smith getting a little sneaky there with the back set over the net.
And we saw a little bit of a surprise look there coming from Murdoch, but nonetheless approves of that decision as the point goes to the Hawks. Darlington set off that serve and way far out at that point.
A little too aggressive on that. He's been getting involved though. That's what you see from some guys when they get a lot of touches. Darlington has been active on the offensive end, so a little bit too much power there, but he's going to tone it down after that.
7 apiece, Hawks and Knights. Ball in play, spike from Vukmanovic. Ball still in play for the Knights. And a solid spike coming there from the one and only Nathan Schneip of Niagara Knights.
Big right side swing, and that's the advantage of having a left-handed hitter over there at the right side hitting position. Having the ball coming into your shoulder allows you to hit cross court and line much more effectively than a right side hitter with the right arm would.
Ball in play, Knights ball.
Back to back for Schneip.
Really executing that right side of their court with the power left coming from Schneip, like you said, Connor.
And we were talking about him being a little bit quiet in the first, but you can really start to see Steve Stone getting him involved in the offense. Another
Hawks
great
ball.
pass. Oh, and that's going to go from left to right. Tooled off the block. A huge hit from Nathan Murdoch, head coach of the Niagara Knights, looking for a touch.
And as we see here, Connor, straight power coming from Murdoch. What a strike, eventually forcing the ball, and fantastic block by the Knights, but ball just plays out, so Hawks ball.
Oh, Simon Smith going back left. Great spot, but just a bit too strong.
And a little bit too many errors, in my opinion, here, Connor, in the second set, where the Hawks have shot that, or served that ball, out of bounds. They really got to be tight with those serves if they hope for the scoreline to continue to go their way.
And you can see a head coach of the Humber Hawks having a discussion with his players on the sideline. Could possibly seeing a substitution for service coming ensue. And there he is again. Scott Wilson making another tough play at the net.
Solid play by Wilson there just to flick the ball over the net and getting that ball back. Scoreline now for the first time in this match going to Niagara, 10-9, the Knights over the Hawks.
And Murdoch gets that one to go.
Ball out of bounds by the Knights. Power hit there from, I believe that was Schneip of the Knights.
Absolutely.
Going for the far end, but ball given to the Hawks.
They're getting him involved, though. If you're the Niagara Knights, that's exactly what you want. You want to keep him in the game, keep him scoring, make the defense worry about him.
And again, like I was saying, Connor, they got to be tight on those serves. We see the ball way out of bounds there by Murdoch.
Absolutely. The last 4 serves, only the prior one for Murdoch has been the one to go into play.
Definite power hitter for sure, but the finesse and accuracy of his shots have been slightly off during this second set. A solid spike there by Vukmanovic.
A little bit confusion off the pass there. Murdoch and Scott Wilson looking to both go at it, and Vukmanovic, just a flat jump, gets to go off the hands of the defender.
17, Vukmanovic to serve the ball for the Humber Hawks. Scoreline still tied at 11.
Almost a great defensive play made by the Hawks. Murdoch punching that up. Almost went into the basketball net, too. Guess he's playing both sports tonight.
Maybe a little rushed, in my opinion, there, Connor. the ball could have potentially have gone out of bounds, but just got to get their heads on straight here a bit. A little bit of a rush play. Hawks have the ball currently.
Scott Wilson.
Great defense coming from the Knights. Ball still in play for the Hawks.
And that's a great run. Great set from Simon Smith. Just getting under the ball, planting his feet, and putting that up for the pipe from Murdoch off a great hit from Scott Wilson.
And we discussed before how his comfort zone Murdoch is at the attack line. We saw it there on that play, Connor, most definitely. He is struggling a bit on the back line. However, his key areas is the attack line and the front area of the net. So hopefully on the next rotation, he'll be back into that position where he feels more comfortable. Score line currently 13-12 Niagara over the Hawks.
And the big middle swing from Sameh Kodir.
Again, error committed there by the Niagara Knights.
So we're going point for point here. We could be looking at a tie, win by 2 kind of set, 13-13. It's anybody's game right now. And Murdoch now at the front row.
Number 16, Clay Blanchette serving that ball.
And that's going to be 4 swings. 4 hits, excuse me, off the serve from Blanchette.
Hawks take the lead once again, 14-13 here in the second set. And like you said, Connor, this game's going to be a 1- or 2-point game from what we can tell.
Great dig, though, from Matt Friesen on the prior play.
Absolutely. Ball back into play. Knights currently have the ball.
And Jeff Scott showing he's not the only, Nathan Murdoch isn't the only one capable of going hard off the hands and out of play. And he puts that one all the way out of play in the back court.
Great defense there by the Hawks. Unfortunately, that ball did go out of play, so we see number 11 of the Niagara Knights serving this ball back into play. Again, nice thinking there from Darlington. Knights still have the ball.
And ultimately, that X from Darlington will score. Some poor communication from the Knights, but a great run between Smith and Darlington.
A little bit of frustration there coming from Schneib, trying to shake it off, as we can see. Jordan Darlington to serve this ball. 5 kills currently, standing at 6'4", native of Ajax, Ontario.
Free ball for the Hawks. And the swing from Vukmanovic is going to score. That went off the chest of Matt Friesen. A good dig, but just out of play and unable to reach. So great defense from the Knights, but hey, you got to give it up to the offense of this Humber Hawks team.
Absolutely. And like we see, scoreline currently stands 16-14 Hawks. Darlington serving that ball once again. Great play from him all game. Hawks still have the ball. Knights get the ball back. Going for the spike.
And another unforced error from the Knights. And you saw that great dig from Nathan Murdoch. Way to stay on his toes. He was a little flat-footed there, but he got that up, which generated the attack, which ultimately led to the unforced error from the Knights. So staying on his toes, Murdoch staying involved.
3-point game here, 17-14 Hawks over the Knights. Going back for that play.
And this time, I believe Smith is going to get called on the net, or is that Vukmanovic?
And I believe that was Vukmanovic getting called on the net there. The Knights serving the ball back into play.
Ooh, Vukmanovic trying to get involved there, but he is shut down by Mark Wickering.
Great block by, I believe that was Shanari Hepburn, as a matter of fact. And again, we're back down to a 1-point game here at the Humber Athletic Center.
And that one gonna go to Nathan Murdoch, a huge block, but that one goes out of play. So what was gonna be a huge momentum booster for that Knights team, and there you see it, he goes out and left. Big swing for Murdoch.
You know, he can definitely play this to his advantage, Connor. We know the power behind Murdoch's spikes, so if he just keeps on spiking these balls that way, and they have the Knights defending, blocking those shots, those balls could potentially just go right out of bounds. So, again,
all right,
solid play by Murdoch again. We see a little bit of a rally going here, getting his game on.
Absolutely. Niagara not happy with the call. There was apparently a touch on the block of Murdoch's hit right here.
19-16, Hawks over the Knights in the second set of play.
Nathan Murdoch really starting to heat up now. Ooh. And a monster cross-court hit from Smith.
And we said this at the beginning of the game, Connor. This was going to be a battle between Schneip and Murdoch, and it's looked like that. Murdoch converts on point, Schneip comes right back. So again, we looks like we have a battle of the twos here during this match. Solid defense from the Hawks.
Don't forget
and
about
a great spike.
Scott Wilson has been active, and he has been scoring for this team. He's been doing great, and a great pass there from Michael Masson. You got to give that guy credit. That was a dime pass on what was a tough spin serve from Jeff Scott.
Great performance by Wilson to get into that open end, and again, just sneaking up on you like that. Fantastic play from his part. Nathan Murdoch back in the back line again, serving this ball for the Humber Hawks. Powerful shot taken there by Murdoch.
Got to give it up to the Knights, though. That's a great run. Great pass off the tip of the serve, which clipped the net. And then they give that to number 5. That is Shinori Hepburn.
And exactly, Connor. We have to give credit where credit is due. Fantastic defense from there by the Knights, and great way to convert on that. Fantastic strike by Shinori Hepburn. But an even better strike by Nathan Murdoch of the Humber Hawks. And like we said, he is just coming back with every point. The Knights convert a point, and he comes right back hustling.
This time we see him getting involved in the backcourt. They put it up for the pipe. The middles draw one of the blockers, and a giant seam. He goes down the right. Stoppage in play here. Do we have? Okay, so just some conversation ensuing between Steve Stone of the Knights and the head official. So
just to get everyone's cool back in order. But again, I like to address back to Nathan Murdoch, who's been fantastic all game. He has clearly been the most powerful player on this team, and it would really surprise me if the Hawks did not capitalize on his powerful shot. Clearly that is a strength of his game. He is a definite power hitter, and he's been executing those tremendously this entire game.
Late points, doing them good.
Solid defense coming from the Hawks there. Ball out of bounds, Knights ball.
There you see him again, and Nathan Schneip going right back at it. He rolls one for the Knights. Tight game, 21-19, Mark.
Schneip to serve the ball for the Niagara Knights, the left-handed player. And a great point there converted by the one and only, that being number 4, Jordan Darlington of the Humber Hawks. Great performance from him again all night. Fantastic play to get that ball down and hard.
Starts with that pass from Michael Masson. A great quick from Smith. Scott Wilson, that's something you don't see right there, putting the floater in the net. He's been solid on every end so far. So first mistake we're really seeing from Scott Wilson, apparent one anyway. And tight game.
And we see Sami Koder, number 10 of Niagara College here, serving that ball. And once again, this scoreline has dwindled down to just 2. The Hawks leading the Knights by 22-21. As a timeout is called, probably an important decision to do right now in this point in the game.
Absolutely, tight game. Hawks still have a 1-point lead, but they definitely don't want to get this thing tied up. Once it's tied, that sense of stress starts to set in on both teams. So a good timeout, slow the pace down, possibly generate an unforced error on the service, get a game plan going. They take a 2-point lead, 23-21. They'll be in a good position to go up 2-0.
And I think we have to address both Jordan Darlington, that being of the Humber Hawks, number 4. He's been sensational this past little bit in the second set. But I also want to point out of the Niagara College Knights, Shinari Hepburn, number 5, really playing tremendously well as well. We can see here on the previous replay, again, some nice serves coming from him. Great rallies by the Hawk, but a fantastic strike from Nathan Murdoch. We all know that Murdoch and Schneip were going to be the go-aheads of this game, but give credit to both Hepburn and Darlington, who have emerged as really, really important players for this match, Connor.
Absolutely, absolutely. They've been really establishing the pace of this game. Back and forth between Murdoch and Schneip, as you mentioned before, that was expected, but these two guys really adding to the flow of this game, and this is a big point right here. And that is just unfortunate on so many levels right there.
And like you said, Connor, it is a bit of an unfortunate play there. Very, very lucky for the Knights to keep that ball in. Great play by the Knights nonetheless, but A little unlucky for the Hawks on that previous play. Just that ball slightly in.
Well, we definitely won't see that twice in a row. It's anybody's game, 22 apiece.
Ball out of play there by the Knights, and again, can't commit errors like that and this deep into the game where it's tied 22 apiece. Score line now back in Humber's favor, 23-22 Hawks over the Knights.
See if Blanchet can capitalize off that misserve. Oh, and there's going to be a call there. Number 9 for the Knights, Matt Frisian, the libero, going to get caught. Couldn't quite decide if he was going to take that with his arms, with his hands, and he gets called and lift there.
And again, 2 back-to-back errors there, unfortunately for the Knights, Connor. Now the game separated by 1 point. This could be it for the Hawks, but it is not, as that ball is served out of play.
Oh, and you see that mistake coming from the Knights, which allowed Blanchet to roll his serve. Will his error cost his team another point here, making this 24?
Schneip serves the ball back at the play, and there it is.
A choke from number 11, I believe.
And my mistake, that was not Schneip. That was number 11 of the Hawks, or of the Knights, excuse me.
So the Hawks, 25-23 in the second off an unforced error. We've seen them, but as mentioned before, you can't make those in the late game. And right there, the Knights giving away the last few points in that second set to the Hawks, and they find themselves down 2-0.
Well, Connor, we knew this game was going to be close, and absolutely fantastic second set there. From a sports perspective, regardless of being biased to one team or not, that was just a great round of volleyball altogether. We saw a great play coming from the Hawks, and we saw a great play from the Knights. So kudos to both teams, because again, that is what volleyball is all about. Fantastic work from both teams, not giving up. And like you said, that final set was decided by 1 point, just 1 point. But again, the star of the show does have to go to, at least in my opinion, Jordan Darlington, number 4 of the Hawks. Like I said, we can't take anything away from Nathan Murdoch, but we knew that he was going to come in this game on a hot streak. Darlington kind of quiet, but he's been fantastic this entire game. So very, very good job from him. What do you think we can expect from him and the team as a whole in the third set?
Well, hopefully we expect what they need them to do, and that's continue what they've been doing so far. You know, Murdoch and Schneip, they'll go back and forth. If Darlington can keep up his play, control the pace of this game, and establish himself as the middle, it'll make everything so much smoother, not just for himself, but for Murdoch and Scott Wilson, who's been doing a fantastic job at the right side. He's rolled some big points, both service and from the attack line, so he's been great. Got to give it up to Michael Massa. His passing has been spectacular, setting a great tone for Simon Smith.
And all things considered, it's just been absolutely fantastic. We'd like to thank once again for all the fans tuning in tonight on this cool Thursday, November. Weather's been pretty all right, though, all things considered. No snow at this point here in the lovely province of Ontario, so we should be thankful for that. But again, thanks to all the parents and friends for coming to support both teams, and for BRTV for putting on this great show for you tonight. And 96.9 FM Radio Humber. For all you radio fans out there, tune in and listen.
All right, so the Knights out there rather quickly. It looks like they know what to do. And even though it's 2-0, that does not tell the story of this game at all. 25-20, 23-25. These sets have been decided in the last few seconds of, the last few points of each match, of each set.
Well, it doesn't surprise me, Connor, that you said that the Knights are so quickly to get back on the court. We talk about so important about momentum shifts happening in volleyball, and like we've seen in this game, it can go either way really quickly. So if the Knights had a little bit of a rally going towards the end, they don't want to lose it. They want to just continue playing. And again, the Hawks are up 2-0 at the moment, so this could be the final determining set. However, could very easily go the Knights' way, and we can see a fourth set. So we'll just have to wait and see as the guys make their way back onto the court. And be ready, ladies and gentlemen, for another fantastic set of volleyball here at the Humber Athletic Center between the Humber Hawks and Niagara Knights.
Number 10, Tristan Swindon. All right, so it looks like both teams ready to go. Michael Masson coming in for Darlington. He'll be back soon once he gets to the front row. And here we go. Let's see how the Knights will set the tone for this third. I believe they're going to open up with first serve.
And there's the whistle from the referees as we begin the third and potentially final set of the match, with the Knights beginning this set.
Humber.
Number 7, Jeff Scott of the Niagara Knights, to serve this ball into play.
One set away from advancing to 4-2 on the season. Ooh, nice thing. Great save by Smith.
Knights ball. And a solid strike there by number 15. Who else? Schneip of the Niagara Knights.
Great save by Simon Smith to keep that ball in play, but the scramble and the Knights made good of that free ball, running it to their go-to guy, and he puts that right through the seam of Vukmanovic and Murdoch.
Ball back in the play. Hawks currently have the ball. Nathan Murdoch with a great strike. Ball still in play. Hawks ball. Great defense from the Knights. Hawks ball still. Finger flip into play. And a solid spike once again coming from Nathan Schneip.
Schneip putting up his second in a row. He's got 2 points already in the first scramble in that play. Some tips, some hits at the net between the middles of Vukmanovic and number 5, Shinari Hepburn, but Schneip can end that one with a great line shot.
Bumped there by Nathan Murdoch. And again, out of bounds there by number 5 of the Niagara Knights, that being Shinari Hepburn. We saw a great rally there from Nathan Schneip, though, and I think we can most definitely tell that it's going to be the battle of the Nathans here.
And Hepburn showing some frustration after he puts that one long.
Shrugging off Nathan Schneip there, and you don't want to see that between two teammates. Showing a little bit of sign of frustration. Got to keep cool. Still early in the game. And an error committed there by number 5 of the Humber Hawks, Simon Smith. I'd even clue into that till right now, Connor. Nathan Murdoch and Nathan Schneip. Definitely the battle of the Nathans here tonight.
Absolutely, absolutely. They're
Journalists are loving that.
All right, Vukmanovic starting to make his presence felt. And if him and Darlington can do, if Vukmanovic can do what Darlington has been doing, this will really help the Humber Hawks team, because now you have a threat and a presence when both of your middles are at the front row.
Nathan Murdoch's currently striking that ball into play.
Big swing from Murdoch. And they're going to go to Schneip.
And the ball still in play there by the Hawks.
Played off of.
Great job there by the Hawks.
Head.
Oh, and a great rally there coming from the Knights.
And that was Tristan Swindon.
And we see there number 1 of the Humber Hawks, that being Scott Wilson. Acknowledging the fact there that it was, he's like, my bad, my bad. So
it's a little bit of the scramble in that last play, and they're going to give it right to Scott. Oh, and he puts that one down.
But he definitely makes up for it on that spike right there, Connor.
Absolutely, and that's great. That's great play from Simon Smith, understanding that, you know, Scott Wilson, understanding that's my bad, I'll get it back, and giving the right side hitter another chance to redeem himself. That's great. That's, you know, that's great teamwork from Simon Smith.
1 point game here at the Humber Athletic Center. 4-3 currently the Niagara Knights over the Humber Hawks in this third set of play.
And you see the same things. Schneip, you know, couldn't quite dig Scott Wilson on that last play. So Steve Stone says, saddle up, baby. I'm giving it to you. And he puts that one to bed.
Great job there by Schneip to get that ball off the Humber defense. Number 10, Tristan Swindon, to serve that ball back into play. Ball out of play, Humber's ball.
All right, so we got a front row setter now. Smith, alongside him is Darlington and Blanchette. Ooh, second service error of the night for Scott Wilson there.
Second error in very close proximities there with the net. And again, like you said, a second error and not that far apart in points. So we have it ball back to the Knights. Nice little flick there from the Hawks.
Ooh,
did not work out on that one.
That tip from Smith came off his fingers a little bit too early. If we look at that replay, we can see that Smith sort of caught the tips of his fingers, and that's an easy put down for Shinari Hepburn.
Knights serve the ball back into play. Hawks ball.
On a great save off of the shot that Darlington put but blocked, and Murdoch trying to down ball that from all the way in the back court, but just comes off the hands the wrong way.
And regardless, refs did call that a 4-touch play, so ball was out of play anyways, as a matter of fact. We see here how it was 4 touches. I think the error came right there with number 1, I believe that was Wilson, trying to punch that ball out, but ball's still in play now for the Hawks. Great defense from Niagara, but an error there, and they know it.
That was number 11, Sammy Coder, with a big-time dig on Blanchette, but unable to play it off the net. And the Hawks are going to get that one. And they find themselves trailing 3.
Clayton Blanchette to serve this ball. 3 kills this game. And a solid spike there from the one and only number 5 of the Niagara Knights, that being Shinari Hepburn.
He's definitely going tick for tack with Darlington right now. They're having their own little battle in the middle. Hepburn is putting up some points in these last few sets.
Native of Nassau, Bahamas, the middle blocker standing at 6'7" in a first year too. And another block from Hepburn. You see him there getting all jacked up, and my goodness, what a block.
That was a fantastic read. On this, just look at this replay right here. A dime pass coming in from Wilson, but they're not biting on Darlington's middle fake, and double block. They sealed that beautifully. Murdoch had no chance on that.
Impressive play from the first-year rookie. Scoreline now separated by 5 points, 10-5 the Knights over the Hawks. And again, another solid block there by Hepburn. Again, a little bit of a rally going here, Connor. His momentum is on ultra drive, if that's even the appropriate word. I can't even think of an appropriate word right now. He's been spectacular.
On a great fake to get that C ball for Scott, but they dig that. Oh, and there's going to be a call, and that's going to be a double hit. But how about Shinari Hepburn? Not just making 2 amazing blocks, making 2 amazing blocks on Nathan Murdoch. That's got to be huge momentum for his team. He was frustrated earlier on in the end of that second, but coming out in this third, a new man, and he's really doing his thing.
And like we said, Connor, you can see how quickly things can change so quickly. Hepburn being quite frustrated early on, pushing off Nathan Schneip, but then getting 3 fantastic plays, and he's a completely different man. So great job from the Knights here. But the Hawks do get that 1 point, so now scoreline standing at 11-7. Knights over the Hawks. And we see here on this previous replay, again, great play from there by the Knights, but just shy. Hawks converting that, have a little bit of a climb now to get back into the game.
Smith getting that tip to go this time.
Ball out of play. Error committed by the Humber Hawks, that being Jordan Darlington.
He's going to come out. Michael Masson, who's been great on the serve receive, as well as the defensive end. He's really been helping this team run the offense here.
Knights serve this ball.
Nice leave. And that one long from Jeff Scott. All right, 3 hitters now. We got Murdoch, Vukmanovic, and Scott Wilson. Just got to turn those hands inside to keep the ball in play, but a nice swing from Tristan Swindon, and that one goes off the hands. I believe that was Murdoch. And he puts that one away.
And again, solid defense from the Humber Hawks. Really getting those blocks up there. Out of bounds, but great job by them nonetheless. And an error committed there by Shinari Hepburn of the Niagara Knights as he comes off the court, replaced by number 9.
Great rotation for Hepburn, though. He had some monster plays and really got involved offensively and defensively, you know, shutting down Murdoch a few times. He's really been a key attribute in what was a pretty big 6-point lead, which is now down to 4.
The outside hitter, Matt Frayson, coming in for Hepburn as the Knights get that ball.
And that one's going to go out of play, hitting the roof. Just, again, we've raved about it, but the power behind Nathan Murdoch. And right there you see, you know, the pass, just no extra emphasis on that or anything. Just a simple take, and it hits the roof.
Well, his power alone is very difficult to control, Connor. We saw before him striking balls and then balls just bouncing out of bounds. We just saw here recently how his spike allowed that ball to hit the roof. So again, very difficult ball to control from him, but he did commit an error on the last play as the ball went back to Niagara. 14 to 10, the scoreline currently stands Niagara Knights over the Humber Hawks.
Great take by Masson. Oh, a little bit off target on that pipe. A
Ball's
great
still
dig.
in. Ball's still in for the Hawks. Flicking that back over. Great defense by Niagara. And a little bit of a miscommunication there by number 4 and 11 of the Knights.
That was a great dig from Simon Smith. We definitely got a replay on that. Prior to that, Simon Smith with a fantastic dig and keeping that alive. Miscommunication along with the presence of Vukmanovic. And, you know, the Knights giving away an easy one.
And it does happen as we see Vukmanovic here getting ready to serve the ball for the Hawks. Nice serve coming from Vukmanovic. Kept in by Frazen. Knights ball. Solid strike there from Schneip. Not happy with the work he did right there. Hitting the ball, hitting the net on that last strike.
A little bit missed time there from Steve Stone, and Snipe, you can see him coming down.
Yeah. A good spike nonetheless, but just got the bottom part of the mesh there.
Oh, and that's a great run from Steve Stone. Controlling the ball, which was going over with the one hand. And that's a great middle run.
3-point game here at the Humber Athletics Center. 15 to 12, the Niagara Knights over the Humber Hawks in the third set. Ball in play.
Blanchette trying to keep that alive, but nobody there to help him. That one a little bit too close to the benches. Off the shank of Michael Masson. So now that lead back up to 4. And we're starting to get a little bit close to that 25-point mark, 16. Whistle on the play. All right, so that monster spinner resulting in a put down from the Niagara Knights, and that's going to be a timeout for the Hawks. And they haven't really been trailing much this game, though. They find themselves down 5 in this third.
They haven't, Connor, and I think it's an appropriate time for a timeout made by the Hawks. We do see currently a 5-point game here, 17 to 12, the Knights over the Hawks. And it does look that during this set, it has been an uphill struggle for the Humber Hawks to come back to the Niagara Knights. But again, they have been tremendous in the first 2 sets. We saw it, second set coming very, very close. But yeah, it has been a bit of a struggle during this game. But smart move made by the Humber Hawks coaching staff to call that timeout. Tremendous play all around, like we said. A couple people I'd like to mention, of course, Jordan Darlington. Shanari Hepburn really coming out of the shell in this third set. What do you think about that?
Oh, that's been incredible because it's all been Darlington these first 2 sets, and Hepburn has been quiet compared to Darlington, but this third set was a complete wraparound. Hepburn with 2 major blocks on Murdoch, and that right there fueled him, and from there we just saw attack and another block, and he was making plays and a few serves. He was doing everything, and when he gets back in here and in the front row, that's going to be a major energy booster. He is just he's an energizer bunny. That's what he is right there.
Absolutely, and again, being a rookie and standing so tall and making such a pivotal impact on the team makes a great impression on him for future years, as a matter of fact. Great way for him to really cement himself in the team and the starting lineup. But play will resume here as we have number 10. That being Tristan Swindon to serve this ball back into play. Hawks have the ball, keeping it in. Nice little finger flip there, but saved by the Knights.
Oh, and Scott Wilson. Great idea, though. Great idea. Looking for the right side hitter to peel off to position 4, maybe even position 5, and trying to get that cross-court shot into a 3-4 area. But just a bit too long. That's a tough shot, especially from the angle he was hitting it at.
Swindon serves the ball back in, but out of bounds as the ball goes back to the Hawks.
Missed serve, but you got to look at what Tristan Swindon did. He forced a number of bad passes from Michael Masson, too, who has been fantastic as a libero for the Hawks team. And now they find themselves up 6 with the missed serve from Scott Wilson.
Six-point game now, 19-13. The Knights over the Hawks.
And there he is, Jordan Darlington getting back in the mix, putting that one down.
ball. Error committed there by the Hawks. Ball out of play. And again, gotta watch out for those serves there, Connor. Can't be doing needless errors like that.
Team that makes the least mistakes is the one that's going to win, and you see back-to-back service errors from Scott Wilson and now Clayton Blanchette. Those are valuable points given away, especially this late in the game when the Niagara Knights are 5 points away from taking the third.
Stone serves the ball back into play. Hawks ball. Finger flip there by Murdoch. Still Hawks ball. Nathan Murdoch with a powerful strike.
Great dig from Swindon.
Spike did not convert. Ball still in play for the Hawks. Great defense coming from the Knights here. Still Knights ball. Still in play.
Oh, and that looks like it's going to be it. The swing from Schneip is going to put it out.
And great little rally there going, Connor. Fantastic play by both teams.
Absolutely. You got to give it up to the blocking of the Knights. They stopped Murdoch on the first. They forced a tip on the second. Then they forced Darlington with an aggressive left-handed tip. And then they managed to convert to a right side swing for their go-to guy, Nathan Schneip. Ooh, and some miscommunication there.
Scoreline getting a bit away here in the third set for Humber. 22-14 the Knights over the Hawks.
And right there you see they're gonna put Scott Wilson on the bench for a little bit. They're gonna bring in number 12, and that looks like that is Hayden McIntyre, and they're gonna bring him in, possibly to pass.
At this point in the game, Connor, I wouldn't see anything wrong with that. The Hawks are struggling. The lead really getting away from them in this third set. So let's change up some things and see what happens. Knights ball. And again, fantastic spike by the one and only Nathan Schneip of the Niagara Knights.
Absolutely. That set going outside, and again, the benefits of being a left-handed hitter at right side. That ball coming in towards you, and he rips that one cross court going around Darlington. Smith unable to close the triple.
Error committed there by the Niagara Knights. Hawks get the ball back. Scoreline 23-15 Knights over the Hawks.
Darlington. Oh, and that's a beautiful X right there between Jeff Scott and Steve Stone.
Niagara to serve this ball back into play.
All right, looks like Humber's going to take another timeout. Smart decision, use your timeout for this set.
Great job by the Hawks. The Knights this set. Definitely smart decision to take a timeout, like you said, Connor.
And here we just have a recent rally going on. This was definitely probably one of the highlights of the set. We see both teams forcing errors amongst the other.
But this was definitely the highlight of the set, trying to keep that ball in play constantly here. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. But again, great job from both teams. Solid performance by the Knights. And this is where it was finally decided. Ball finally going out of play there. But again, good job by the Knights to make pressure there, completely press the Hawks. But again, nothing to take away from the Hawks' performance. They've been tremendous this entire game up until this point. And I think it's going to be safe to say that we probably and most likely will see an exciting fourth set coming up.
Oh,
Connor.
Absolutely. That timeout more or less generated towards the fourth set is 24-15. This is all but said and done. And even that mistake from Jeff Scott going to give the Hawks a service in 16. But if they can shut out the Knights 8 consecutive points, I don't know if they can do that.
Like the saying goes, though, it's never over till the fat lady sings, right?
Absolutely.
So we still have a third set here to be played as the Hawks are ready to serve that ball.
Ooh,
Solid strike there by Shannari Hepburn. Ball still in play. And there it is.
Oh, what a swing from Nathan Schneip. And there he goes. He puts that down, and the fat lady sings, and we're going to a fourth set here at the Humber Athletic Center.
And I think the real talking point of this game, Connor, or at least, this set, is that we definitely have to go to the Niagara end of the court. And Are we really that surprised? They played tremendous this set. We all know that. The scoreline says it, 25-16 over the Hawks in the third set. And that has a lot to do with the lethal attack of Nathan Schneip, averaging 4.0 points a game. And, of course, we have to mention the rookie, Shinari Hepburn. Let's talk about Mr. Hepburn, Connor.
I actually think that was the difference there. Nathan Schneip has been doing his thing all game, but the emergence of this third set of Shinari Hepburn, just the energy that he gave to this team, stopping Murdoch on a number of plays, getting big blocks, sealing the deal on a number of great offensive opportunities for the Humber Hawks. He is the sole purpose, not the sole purpose, excuse me, but one of the biggest reasons why that this Knights team took such a commanding 25-16 win in the third. But it'll be interesting now. It's 2-1. Will the Hawks come out with the urgency that we just saw there from the Niagara Knights?
Well, the sets are currently now standing at 2-1 for the Hawks, so this will be the make or break set. If the Hawks win this set, they win the game. If not, we're going to a fifth set. So, again, going to be very interesting. Niagara had a bit of a hill to climb, but they definitely climbed that hill for sure. And again, you're right, it has to go a lot to the performance of Nathan Schneip and Shinari Hepburn. Shinari Hepburn starting off a little rugged in the third set, but then putting on tremendous, changing that attitude, very mature on his part, and doing a great job altogether. But once again, we'd like to thank all our fans for coming out during this match. Just a quick shout out to them, approaching 9:30 right now here local time. So kudos for all of them sticking it out here and supporting both clubs. And we're looking forward to a fourth set as both teams kind of sit down and analyze what they have done. And Connor, do you think we're going to expect anything different from both teams, or are we going to kind of see the consistent play that we've seen throughout the entire game?
It'll be interesting to see. I am going to lean towards consistent play, both these teams not taking their foot off the gas, but it'll be interesting to see things on the Humber side of things. Now that they have lost a set, they had a commanding 2-set lead, even though that doesn't tell the story of the game at all. Both those sets could have gone either way, but now that they have lost a set and they're one away from tying this game, I actually think we're going to see a lot of urgency from Humber. And as you mentioned before, the uphill climb that this Niagara team faces, will they be able to keep that intensity up? It'll be interesting to see. Murdoch and Darlington, two players that need to come back into this game the same way that Hepburn and Schneip demonstrated in that third. That will make the difference.
And I couldn't agree more, Connor. I definitely agree with that statement. Murdoch and Darlington are going to be the defining factors in this fourth set. So it looks like the boys are going to be coming back onto the court, and we got an exciting fourth set in our hands. You see the Hawks still laughing around here, staying quite positive, all things considered. Nothing to take away. They're not going to beat themselves up on that last set. So we've got a great match of volleyball here to continue, and the play is just about to begin. We see Darlington and Murdoch dancing a bit there, still staying positive, but the referee's trying to organize the boys. Then again, they are boys, right? We're only, most of us, under the age of 24, so you still see the child in all of us coming out during some of these games.
Looks like we're ready to go. So standard rotation, same thing we've always seen. Smith coming out to serve, 3 hitters in the front row. On a great first serve, forcing Steve Stone to take that. Oh, and there he is. Nathan Schneip just throwing it off the hands of the block. Off a great serve from Simon Smith. So early 1-0 lead for Niagara.
And we see Shinari Hepburn here making his way back to the serving area to serve that ball. 5 kills this game, standing at 6-7. Ball out of play, really far out of play there. Point going, or excuse me, ball going back to the Hawks. Nathan Murdoch to serve the ball. 8 kills this game, Connor, 8 kills.
Oh, he's definitely been their #1 offensive target. In the same way Schneip has been the same for this Niagara Knights team.
And great block there coming from the Humber Hawks, that being #1, Scott Wilson.
Just going out of play, though. It would seem that's what they ruled. And now Schneip at the service. Ooh.
And a slight error there by Nathan Murdoch. And like we said all game, defense is not his strong point, Connor. Most definitely, but a great game nonetheless.
Serve receive has definitely not been his strongest point compared to the beast he is offensively. But he's going to try and make up for that here. There's Scott Wilson. Called the net, though. Okay, and it's going to be a call at the net. Hawks ruled to be on the net, and that was going to score either way. So a quick 4-1 lead, not exactly what the Humber Hawks were hoping for, so they're going to have to turn that around.
Great defense there from Murdoch to keep that ball in play. Knights ball.
Oh, and another score for the Knights, but again, another call on the net going against Vukmanovic, so that was going to be, you know, night point no matter what. But Vukmanovic getting called 2 times in a row for being on the net. He's definitely going to have to watch out for that. Good pass from Murdoch.
Solid rally there coming from the Hawks.
Great up from Snipes. Free ball for the Hawks. 1-on-1, and Blanchette's going to put that bad boy away.
Great job there coming from the Hawks. Nice little rally there to challenge the Niagara Knights.
And there you see it. The free ball over from Scott. And the dime pass forces the 1-on-1 between Blanchette and Steve Stone, and he's going to take that to town all day.
Vukmanovic to serve this ball back into play. Knights ball. Great block by there, Darlington there. And good way for Murdoch to get down low there. Ball still in play.
And Scott Wilson going to try and take that out. Almost running over the scores table there.
Got to do what you got to do, right, Connor?
Absolutely. It's the hustle. It's the heart. You got to love it. But this Hawks team definitely not liking the score so far. 2-6 with Swindon at the serve. And he's got a mean spinner. A great pass from
Great
Masson.
job by the libero there for the Hawks. And fantastic strike. Great spike there by Darlington.
Starts with that pass. Got to give it up to Michael Masson. Just a beauty pass to Simon Smith. Off a rocket of a spin serve from Tristan Swindon. And Darlington doing what he's been doing. Starting to get back into this.
Still in play. A little bit of miscommunication there by the Hawks. Knights still have the ball. Still, great spike there by the Niagara Knights.
I believe that was Jeff Scott at the left side. Blanchette almost got it up though. Yeah, miscommunication right there between libero and Scott Wilson, I believe, which resulted in the swing from Scott to score. Off the net. Ooh, that's a tough swing for Blanchette, swinging outside of his body to try and curve that cross court. You can see that sets a little bit off the net there.
And again, we do see a little bit of frustration playing out in the Humber Hawks team. Got to get their heads back on top as play continues. A solid spike there by Darlington.
We were looking for him. He's coming back. He's bringing that energy. You see him getting his team hyped. Darlington scored twice in the opening points of this set. I believe it's half the points, even though it's only 4. He's got half of them for his Hawks team. Let's see if we can roll a few with Blanchette. Not really what you want to see.
Not this moment, but again, we have a long game on our hands. Niagara currently holding a scoreline 9-4 over the Hawks.
And here we go.
And then we saw a massive spike there coming from Murdoch. Ball still in play. Again, hard defense there by the Hawks. Can't really blame them from a spike coming at that speed and that power by the Knights, that being Shanari Hepburn.
We were talking about Darlington a few seconds ago, but Hepburn reminding us he's still here. A big, big swing. Michael Masson, impressive just getting a touch on that alone. Ooh.
Slight miss there by Darlington for the Hawks. Scoreline currently standing 11-4, Knights over the Hawks. And a timeout called by the Humber Hawks.
They find themselves down 4-11. Not really where they want to be. But you got to give it up to those Knights, man. They've been playing, you know, they've been playing great so far since the end of that second.
Yeah, and it's been a solid comeback from the Knights. Can't take anything away from that team. They were down 2 sets, but after that 3rd set, they came back pressing hard, and it has shown for them in the 3rd set and currently this 4th set. Let's not forget that that 2nd set, too, was a battle of of the teams. It was really, really close, only ending with a 1-point difference. So again, I think we have a great fourth set here on our hands. Can very easily go either way, but currently right now the scoreline stands 11-4. The Niagara Knights over the Humber Hawks. And Connor, I think we have to, again, once again, really bring out the showstopper, in my opinion, Shinari Hepburn. He's really been quite impressive this entire game, and he's holding his own again in this fourth set. And we can see here from the previous replays, his skills in the front line really making some presence for him. And it's that beautiful strike hitting number 7, the libero of the Humber Hawks, that being Michael Mastian. So again, great job on his part all game, because he's been really, really lethal and really giving it to the Humber Hawks. Play is to resume very shortly here as the Niagara Knights are ready to serve the ball. And the error committed by the Knights there, ball going back to the Hawks. And we see Machin coming out as Manovic comes back onto the court.
All right, he's had some success from the service line. Let's see what Darlington can do. Oh, not so much there. He gives it right back to them. And that's a momentum killer for this Hawks team. When they get the point back, they want to get on a roll.
Can't commit errors like that, Connor, at this point in the game. Definitely got to convert on those serves for sure. Cannot be giving the ball back to the Knights as they have right now, with a tremendous serve being put into play there. Again, ball just out of play by Murdoch. He's been sensational all game with his serves and strikes. But that play just out of play.
Absolutely. It's tough hit with that ball so far up the net, especially when you got Shinari Hepburn.
It was a very tough hit, and I believe that that ball was just a tad higher than him at that point. So nothing to take away from him. Very difficult ball to hit, but ball is given back to the Humber Hawks. Scoreline 13-6, Knights over the Hawks in the fourth set.
And there you see Simon Smith getting a little creative, hitting that 2 spot.
Very smart play coming from Simon Smith, number 5 of the Hawks, to just lob the ball very gently into that dead man's area of the Knights zone. 6-point difference here in this game.
And Schneip forced a tip. Now here we go.
Hawks ball. And a spike there by Murdoch.
But there you see Hepburn getting a touch on it.
Difficult ball to save. I believe that was Schneip, correct?
Schneip putting that one away, but it all starts with Shinari Hepburn getting a touch on Murdoch's hit to keep that in play. And then Scott Wilson unable to handle the hit from Nathan Schneip. So Shinari Hepburn really just doing his thing. Oh, and then we talked about it before, Murdoch's weakness at the serve receive.
Very nice play there on him on that point. Just lobbing the ball very gradually into the zone. Ball still, or no, my mistake, ball out of bounds there. So again, ball going back to the Knights. Screened a little bit by the front desk here, so my apologies, but play continues. Scott Wilson going for the strike there. Ball is in, and it's good.
Scott Wilson, haven't seen him in a few plays, but there he goes, the right side hitter going off the hands, and he gets that one to drop.
Scoreline stands 15-8, Niagara over the Hawks, as Nathan Murdoch makes his way back to the serving area.
He shows up in big moments. This is one of them. There you see a great spinner.
Great serve from Murdoch here. And a solid block by the Hawks.
Scott Wilson and Vukmanovic pressing that net, keeping it on their side, giving Murdoch another chance to go at it.
We can see the intensity in Murdoch right now, really getting involved in that game. Does not want to have to go to a 5th set here. Another fantastic spinner there by Murdoch.
Handled nicely by Jeff Scott, though, on the pass, and they get that one to roll, and Vukmanovic can't handle it.
And a nice little block there by the Knights to get the ball right back. Scoreline currently stands 16-9. The Niagara Knights over the Humber Hawks.
There is a good side. Nathan Schneip now in the backcourt. But he's
Solid.
making plays.
Solid spike there by Scott Wilson. And a great block by the Humber Hawks defense there.
That goes out of play, and just as I say, it's a good thing. Schneip is in the back. He makes a great play on defensive end and then puts that one off the hands and out of play, and now he gets another serve.
And a little unlucky there by the Hawks. They have been playing well defensively speaking, but again, ball's just going out of play and getting it right back. Solid strike by Murdoch there, and it's good.
Going off the hands of Samant Cotier. Murdoch manages to score. He's been having trouble, largely in part to Shinari Hepburn, who's been getting a hand on all of his swings lately. So good to see Murdoch back on the board.
Great spike by Murdoch. Oh, a little bit of a lapse in concentration there by the Knights. Almost, sorry, ball still in play.
Darlington unable to press that ball over. He gets it off the block.
A little bit of a crazy play occurring there, as we saw a little bit of lapse of concentration coming from the Knights. They're turning their back to the play real shortly, but somehow pulling out the point on that one.
Oh, and that's just a rocket of a spinner coming in from Tristan Swindon. Michael Masson, whose passing has been on point the whole game, can't handle that. And now the Hawks almost find themselves being doubled and score.
Lead getting quite away from the Hawks in this fourth set. 19-10, the Knights over the Hawks.
Definitely don't want to be seeing missed serves, but at this point in the game, a missed serve or two here and there might not be too bad if you're the Niagara Knights with a commanding lead.
And an error committed there by Scott Wilson, unfortunately, for the Humber Hawks. Ball going right back to the Knights. Two-year point, Connor. Scoreline nearly doubled at this point. The Knights 20 over the 11 Hawks.
Good pass there from Michael Masson.
Nice flick there by Murdoch. Don't see that often from him. Usually going for the spike, but
and it looks
like the fingers were over it.
It'll be interesting. No call has been given.
All right, with the net, connection with the net. So ball is given back to the Knights on that one. 21-11 Niagara over Humber.
Still some discussion ensuing. All right, so the official not going to have it. And we're back underway.
Served by the Knights to Humber. Hawks still have the ball. Knights keep that ball in play. And a very, very intense strike there coming from number 7 of the Knights. Timeout call.
You see there, Humber just unable to get an offense going. A good pass from Michael Masson, but that's set just a bit too tight for Blanchette. He forces the left-handed tip, which results in that big slam from Jeff Scott. Being doubled here in the fourth, I believe, 11-22, and it's safe to say that we might just be going to a fifth. Niagara coming down to take such a commanding fourth and a third win.
Oh, like we said, Connor, we can never say, never say never, but
Absolutely.
it is quite a commanding lead in this fourth set. Niagara taking it to the Hawks, 22-11, a 10-point difference. So fifth set is on the horizon, most definitely. But again, very intense game, and kudos to the Knights and coming back from those 2 sets down at the beginning of the match. But that's what good volleyball is all about, right?
Absolutely, they take it point by point, set by set. They don't think of it as we're down 2-0. They take it 1 point at a time, and they've managed to bring it back here. And if they bring it to a fifth set, then it's anybody's game, and it always has been, to be quite honest with you. This Knights team, 5-1, looking to keep it to 6-1 after this. But the Hawks not down and out, because there's still a set to be played after this, if in fact the Knights do pull it out here.
And like we said, this was going to be a tough and close game right from the get-go, and that's most definitely what we're seeing here on BRTV.
And there we see Simon Smith shaking up a little bit, trying to get his team back into a score and getting hyped, trying to get his teammates up there. A nice tip.
Very, very nice tip coming from the Hawks there. And again, for all of you players that are not able to view this currently, definitely check us out on 96.9 Radio Humber. As the ball currently is in play by the Knights. And a filthy strike and spike coming from the Niagara Knights there. Getting a lot of height on that play.
There's Jeff Scott right there. You can see him coming in off the set from Stone, which worked out very nice. You see Shinari Hepburn coming over to the left side, forcing the middle to jump, making a one-on-one for Scott.
Error there by the Knights.
Serving for the Hawks is number 4, Jordan Darlington.
And a great block there by the Humber Hawks. Knights still have the ball, Hawks ball.
They got to convert here.
Great job there by the Hawks.
Fantastic blocks there from Vukmanovic.
And a great job by Scott Wilson, number 1, showing his intensity there on that last play.
Nice feed from Simon Smith, creating the one-on-one, and he manages to go toe-to-toe with Nathan Schneip. Ooh, and Shinari Hepburn trying to go for the big kill, but that one's just a little low off the pass. Steve Stone getting on his knees to set that one up.
Serving for the Hawks, number 11, Rafael Jimenez.
Still down 8. Got to bring it back. Oh, and that's not what you want to see right there. Number 11, that's number 11 for the Humber Hawks, Rafael Galdames. Set point for Niagara.
Hawks still have the ball, defending here. Murdoch goes for it.
And Mark is going to a 5th.
It is going to a 5th, Connor, and my goodness, what a match we have had here. The first 2 sets going to the Humber Hawks, and the last 2 sets, sets 3 and 4, going to the Niagara Knights. What can we expect coming up in this 5th set?
Now this will be interesting. We didn't see the urgency from the Knights that we're seeing now after the first set. We saw it after the second set. When they were down 2-0, this team came out rock solid and has been outplaying the Hawks on every cylinder. If we see that from the Hawks, we're going to be looking at a similar score to what we saw in the second, a 25-23. It's going to be a thriller right down to the wire. But again, we got to give it up. Number 5 for the Niagara Knights, Shinari Hepburn. He's been fantastic, really disrupting the offense of this Hawks, and really all-around play from serve receive to offense has been in favor of the Knights thus far.
And I think, like, to say that we have a guaranteed winner in this upcoming set would be completely incorrect,
Absolutely.
Connor. I really can't give you any idea because the games have been so evenly matched. It's literally been 2-2 apiece. We saw the Hawks win the first 2 sets. We see the Knights win the last 2 sets. So we really don't know what to expect. Again, we have to address the situation or the plays of both Nathan Schnepp and Nathan Murdoch. They've been fantastic all game, as well as some other names coming up here that we were not expecting. Shinari Hepburn of the Niagara Knights really performing well, and Jordan Darlington, number 4 of the Humber Hawks. So it looks like we have a great 5th set to come our way. And do stay with us because, again, it's going to be a fast one and it's going to be a cracker nonetheless. What do you feel about the team's all-around performance, Connor, in these past 2 sets?
Well, the past 2 sets, it's been all Niagara, just outplaying the Hawks on every cylinder. Prior to those 2 sets, the Hawks were clicking on all cylinders. They were performing right up to par with the Knights and took the first 2 sets because of that. If there's one thing that needs to change, it's the intensity of the Humber Hawks. They need to start clicking with their offense. They need to start converting on free balls. They need to start getting their serves in and reducing unforced errors. If they can do that, what they did in the first 2 sets, they are absolutely capable of taking this set away from the Niagara Knights. They are probably exhausted from coming back. So at this point, it's going to come down to who's mentally tougher and who wants it more.
And I think, Connor, you mentioned a good point about forced errors, and I think that played a huge factor in determining the last 2 sets. We didn't see as many forced errors by the Humber Hawks in the first 2 sets. However, there was quite a number of them in sets 3 and sets 4. So if they can somehow tone down and sharpen on those needless errors, they can potentially win this match. They just really, really have to be decent and good with not converting those useless errors.
Absolutely. When you have a strong server like a like a Clayton Bond, a Nathan Murdoch, or Simon Smith, or somebody like a Scott Wilson, you need these serves to go in because these guys can roll you a good number of points and bring you from a 4-point deficit to a tie game. And they weren't doing that in the third and fourth set, giving away free points, which ultimately showed to have cost them big time in 2 blowouts. We didn't see those on the half from the Niagara Knights. They've been in this game the whole time, so it'll be interesting to see how these Hawks respond. Simon Smith setting the tone right out of the gate.
If you're tuning just in, we currently have the Humber Hawks against the Niagara Knights here at OCAA Volleyball, and we're going into a 5th set. While the Humber Hawks took the first 2 sets, and the Niagara Knights took sets 3 and 4.
And right out of the gate, what do we see? Simon Smith, the server who has shown that he can put it in multiple places on the court, puts it in the net, and already they're giving it to Shanari Hepburn, who can roll a few points here.
And we said it's going to be a make or break based on those errors this coming up set, right, Connor? So the ball is in play. Knights currently have the ball. And a solid strike coming by number 10 of the Niagara Knights, that being, I believe, sorry about that, that is Tristan Swindon of the Niagara College Knights.
Now Shanari Hepburn serving up again. And there you go, Vukmanovic. We need to see him. We've seen Darlington, we've seen Hepburn, but if we see Vukmanovic, that'll be a great booster for this Hawks team.
And this Hawks team has a great depth of players too, Connor. We can see once Murdoch gets on his going, he can really take off. Same with Vukmanovic, same with Wilson. So we really have a really exciting set here to occur.
And right there, Clayton Blanchette forcing the serve-receive error, which is an easy put down for
by
Simon
number
Wilson,
1,
Scott Wilson.
Scott Wilson. Speak of the devil, like I was just saying, once we get these boys rallying, they can really perform. However, playing a little bit of devil's advocate, the same goes for the Niagara Knights as well. So scoreline currently stands 2 apiece by both teams.
Absolutely, the Niagara Knights, they are full of energy right now, largely in part to that guy, Nathan Schneip. When they need a big point, they go to him, and he has proven to do anything. Front court, back court, he's a threat all the time.
And he has been great on that right-hand side right now, this being him a left power hitter. And on that right side has been his strong point all game. So he has been executing that exceptionally well. Ball in play for the Hawks. Still in play. Schneip keeping that ball in for the Knights. And an error committed by the Knights.
Poor timing on that pipe ball between Stone and number 7 is Jeff Scott.
Serving for the Hawks is number 17, Stefan Vukmanovic.
Hawks with an opportunity to take a 4-3 lead. A great play by Scott. Oh, and they're going to call
4 touches there. Yep. And a missed hit by the Niagara Knights.
So just a little bit of a communication error on there. Just pass from Scott a little bit low. And then the set from Stone also not high enough for his hitter. I believe that was number 11.
Lead going to the Humber Hawks now. 4-3 Hawks over the Knights. Ball in play. And a solid block there by Nathan Murdoch.
Looks like that ball did, in fact, go off the hands of Murdoch. So again, as you mentioned before, great defensive play coming from this Hawks team, but just going out of play.
Great communication, though, by Darlington and Murdoch, really working well with each other in the front line. We see the Humber coaching staff once again challenging that play in question.
There have been a lot of challenges coming from the hands of the head coach from this Humber Hawks team. Not quite sure what the confusion on that play was. Oh, but there you go, number 10. I mean, is that Tristan Swindon rolling another one.
And those spikes, as we see on this previous play, great serve coming from Tristan Swindon, really getting some height on that and really driving that ball low hard to the court. Ball out of play there.
Well, they catch a break. Now, will the Hawks capitalize on this opportunity the same way that Tristan Swindon blew that one long? We've seen Nathan Murdoch do. But again, he can roll 3 or 4 points right here, and I think that's what's going to decide this. Who can capitalize on their opportunities? We're about to find out.
Well, Murdoch, the power hitter, can really capitalize on this. Ball in play, saved by the Knights. Still in play.
Call on the net, though. And either way, Darlington's going to get called for being on the net there.
Knights to serve this ball. Back into play. Sliced there by Murdoch, and a great play.
That's an incredible shot from Darlington. Come in.
Great job by Darlington there to send that ball low to the ground.
See here on the replay, he comes into the ball and crosses it from his right to the right side.
Lucky slice there by Murdoch for the ball to be played back into their zone. Worked out for the Hawks on that play. And still Hawks ball. Great defense coming from the Humber Hawks. And again, solid job by the Humber Hawks there.
And what a great swing from Jeff Scott of the Knights to get that. But Clayton Blanchette one-ups him with a big left side swing. Goes all the way out to the other end.
Bringing this scoreline to 1 apiece. 7-6 Hawks over the Knights. And again, out of bounds by the Knights. Rally going here by the Hawks, and we see the tenacity by Murdoch, pumping his team up.
All right, looks like we're at the 8-point marker, which means we're going to switch up sides. So now 7 points away from taking this game. I believe the Hawks are. Their fifth set might go to 15 points.
Really exciting game going on here.
And they go straight on to the court. No timeouts, no opportunity to talk. So Humber riding the momentum.
And like you said, Connor, this set being played to 15 points with the Hawks currently leading 8-6. Really close game on our hands, an exciting match nonetheless.
Still anybody's game, only 8-6.
Wilson to serve that ball, lobs that ball nicely into play. Still the Knights ball, great block from the Hawks, and a slight confusion there.
What a recovery. I mean, that ball was riding on the tape. Steve Stone manages to get it off the net right here, we see. And I believe it was Jeff Scott who has actually really showed up here in this 5th set. He's rolled a number of points. He gets that one to go.
Number 4 of the Niagara Knights. Steve Stone served that ball. Ball in play. Hawks still have the ball. Nice flick by the Hawks. Knights trying to keep that ball into play. Spike coming from Schneip of the Knights. Still in the Knights zone. Nice block by the Hawks. And play they call out of bounds by the Humber Hawks.
So we got the replay coming up here, I believe. Actually, probably not, but Jeff Scott went off the hands.
Again, tie game, 8-8 apiece in this 5th set.
It is a win by 2.
Hawks have the ball. And a behemoth strike and spike there by Nathan Murdoch. Still the Hawks ball, great defending.
They go back
Another
to
spike by Murdoch, but solid defending and out of play. And smart play by the Humber Hawks.
What a few swings from Nathan Murdoch. Gotta give props to the libero of the Niagara Knights. Matt Friesen making a huge dig on the first one, but then Smith saying, he goes right back to Murdoch. He drills another C-ball, and that one going all the way out to the back.
And you really got to address Nathan Murdoch's fantastic power hitting on those last 2 plays. What great strength and communication from Murdoch, the first year. Can you believe that? A first year, a rookie player, as a matter of fact.
Oh, but then, as you mentioned, a number of times the battle of the Nathans, and then Schneip going off the top, and he's going to score on that. So back and back, we're going to be looking at a win by 2 game. It's going to come right down to the wire.
Absolutely, Connor. I can't disagree with you on that. We have been seeing this all game, all game, and we're seeing it definitely now.
Speaking of which, this guy has shown up in this 5th set, Jeff Scott.
Kept in by Murdoch, solid defense there. Still Humber's ball.
Oh, and you already know where they're going.
The Knights are going for the spike. Nathan Schneip again. Solid deep by Murdoch. Great job to get low there.
And Nathan Murdoch one-upping Nathan Schneip. The dig off of Schneip's great right side swing. and Murdoch puts that away, but a call on the, no call on the field, on the court, excuse me, but some unhappiness displayed by the Niagara coach. I believe he thinks Murdoch's foot was on the line on the back row attack. But how about Nathan Murdoch there making a fantastic dig and then putting that one away from the C-ball.
Really showing up on defense here on this last set, Murdoch.
Oh wait, there's a call. Oh, it's gonna be on the net regardless. So we're tied up back at 10.
What a game in our hands, Connor. What a game. Oh, and a nice slight error by Vukmanovic. Worked in their favor. I mean, I think originally, as we see on the replay here, Vukmanovic going for that spike, but slightly missing it, rolling off his fingers, and then number 11 of the Niagara Knights, that being and another missed error by the Knights.
You see there,
the Hawks capitalizing on that one. 12-10 the scoreline. Hawks over the Knights.
And there we see it. Two critical mistakes on the part of the Niagara Knights, unable to control the missed hit from Vukmanovic, and that scores. And now miscommunication on the quick between Steve Stone and his middle, and that's going to result in a 2-point Hawks lead with 3 points to go till they can come back and take this fifth. But the Knights are not about to let that happen. Timeout, and we're going to see what they come out with.
Regardless the final outcome here, Connor, we can see on these replays, there's been great display of volleyball all around. Solid blocking there, and we can see the excitement on Murdoch's face and the rest of the Humber Hawks. And it's been great volleyball all around. Fantastic play from both teams. And regardless of the decision and regardless of the way this game ends, I think we have to give thumbs up to both teams. What a great game of volleyball.
Both teams came ready to play tonight, that's for sure. All right, so the Knights, they get out there immediately, and the Hawks wasting no time either.
As the players reposition themselves back on the court. Ladies and gentlemen, be ready. We have a quick number of points left here, and it's going to be an exciting end to this game here at the Humber Athletic Center. Rally by the Knights.
Oh, Tristan Swindon finding the seam between Vukmanovic and Murdoch. What a great left side swing from Swindon.
One heck of a power spike there, and we can see here on this previous replay, really getting on top of that ball, Connor, and just hammering it down past the net. Nothing Murdoch could have done on that one.
Oh, and that one.
Again, solid strike there by Murdoch. Ball still in play by the Niagara Knights. And again, error committed by the Knights, arguing for a slippery floor. You can see the Knights saying that it was slipped.
And now it looks like they're going to be challenging that original play by Blanchet, who took it with his hands on the serve receive. That one coming off with a lot of spin. And then you saw Swindon getting a little bit too aggressive.
The Knights are also arguing, Connor, that there's moisture on the court currently, slipping on that last play that should have been taken care of.
All right, now some good news for the Hawks. They got Darlington in the front row along with Murdoch and Scott Wilson, who's been great.
Serving that ball back into play for the Hawks. Blocked by the Hawks, kept in by Murdoch. And the Knights going back there. And a solid spike by Tristan Swindon.
Oh, he's showing up in these last few points. He scored 2 of the last 3.
It's been a real nail-biter. Connor, scoreline 13-12 for the Hawks over the Knights. It's really going to come down right to the wire.
Oh, and he puts that one right in between the antenna and the line. A great swing from Swindon, who's got a nasty spinner. He can roll a few here if he gets these to go in. Oh, but a great pass from Masson.
Trying to keep the ball in by the Knights. Ball still in play. Great block by Humber.
Darlington and Murdoch shutting down Jeff Scott, and they take a 2-point lead. 1 to go, and Humber will take this 3 sets to 2, and Nathan Murdoch with the opportunity to seal the deal at the service line. Timeout, Knights.
Connor, what a game we have on here. This has been insane, going back and forth. Nathan Murdoch really showing up here in this last set of play. With the scoreline being 14-12, the Humber Hawks over the Niagara Knights. Timeout called by the Knights. And be ready, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said before, it is going to come down, no word of a lie, literally to the wire. 2 points separating each team. Let's go.
And here's that last play. You see Darlington and Murdoch reading that Jeff Scott is getting that. They seal the block. They cover the net. And there was no way Scott was getting around that. So now the Knights find themselves against the wall. Match point, Humber Hawks. So the Humber Hawks really discussing it over. And they probably definitely have a set play. And so they are in a very comfortable position. I want to draw attention to the libero of this Hawks team, Michael Masson. He has been spectacular on the serve-receive end. So with him back there, even if they lose this point, they could really set up a nice play for this coming rally.
And here we go.
And Jeff Scott puts it away down the line. And that was a funky rally there at the beginning. The serve of Murdoch just chipping the net. Steve Stone puts it over. Then Smith puts it back over, giving them the setup for Scott.
Interesting play nonetheless. A lot of stuff going on in that last play, Connor. But nonetheless, the end result was Knights get a point. 14-13, Hawks over the Knights. This will be, if not the final deciding factor here for this matchup. Humber against Niagara. Thoughts, Connor? What can we expect in this last play? Do you think we're going to go for a heavy drive?
It'll be interesting to see who's serving. That's the first thing. Obviously, a lot of pressure on this Niagara player. Sometimes that gets you, and with the missed serves we've seen, very possible that we see one put into the net, but I think we're going to see a run from Humber to put it away. They got Michael Masson in the back, so if it goes to him, we could be expecting a good pass. I'm not quite sure if they have Murdoch front row, but I do know they have Darlington, and that'll be a key asset in this last play. It'll be interesting to see.
Well, here we go. Niagara Knights wasting no time, back on the court immediately. Hawks making their way back onto the court.
All right, so it'll be interesting to see who the Hawks have. Okay, so Murdoch in the back row. They have Darlington front row along with Simon Smith, and they have Scott Wilson at the left side, who's been great this game. He's made some big plays.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Knights to serve the ball.
And
out of play, and there it is. That is the game. Humber Hawks win this set 15-13 over the Niagara Knights. An error committed by the Knights out of bounds. And you see the reaction by the players, by the fans. What a game. Fantastic performance by both teams. Kudos to Niagara and Humber. But the Humber Hawks take this match 3-2. Connor, final thoughts on this game?
Well, like we said, you know, the nerves always play a role, and there we see it. The serve going long, sealing the deal. It was a really intense match. Niagara coming back from 2 sets down to bring it to this 5th set. Here's a replay on that last Murdoch, Masson, just watching that ball go out. You know, so many players who contributed to this win. I mean, Nathan Murdoch, what can we say about him? Michael Masson, fantastic passing. Clayton Blanchette, he was good at the left side. Key players, Jordan Darlington, he was fantastic. Got to give it up to Shinari Hepburn. He was fantastic. You were raving about him throughout the game.
And I have to rave about him, Connor. He was tremendous. Being a very young player on that team, he really stepped up for Niagara. But again, we saw a great group of games, a great job of volleyball here. And we have Natalie currently at courtside to speak with one of the Humber Hawks players. Natalie, what do we have to say?
It's now time for your Hawk Station player of the game. Number 7, Michael.
Thank you, gentlemen. I'm joined by Scott Wilson. Scott, thank goodness the Hawks were able to even the record at 3-3, but how does it feel to have a comeback win and break the losing streak?
Well, heck, geez, the last 3 games we had the best 3 teams in our side of the OCAA. So it's been quite a tough run here the past couple days. But you know what? It's a heck of a win pulling this one out. We need it.
So how do you think the team has grown, considering your guys are very new together and have been really big games?
Most definitely. We're a young group. There's only 2 returners. We have a lot of veteran players that know how to play the game, but we just still haven't come together fully yet. And you know what? This shows that we're on the right track for sure.
And of course, the 2 lost sets, and you know the chemistry is still building. But what do you think the team learned from those 2 lost sets?
The whole season, we've been trying to stay focused for the whole entire game. Again, we lost focus in the 3rd and 4th set there. And you know what? We got to take away from that. We got to learn. We always got to learn after this game, and especially games like this, 5-set matches, where we have to battle back to win. Shows a lot of character from us, but we still have a lot to learn.
All right, final question. What was the turning point in bouncing back?
You know what? I'd have to say we were struggling passing there. Their setter on the other team went on a little run of about 7 or 8 points. And you know what? We just said enough is enough, and we started passing the ball again. We got the job done.
Sounds good to me. Congrats.
Thank you.
Back to you guys.
Thanks, Natalie. Well, you guys heard it here first on BRTV and 96.9 Radio Humber. We want to thank you for coming out and joining us here at OCAA Men's and Women's Volleyball. My name is Mark DeLuca.
I'm Connor Forrest.
And we'll see you next time here at OCAA and Humber Hawks Varsity. Have a great night.